right, yo, we back. Episode 6, Fly Free Speaks. And I think it's time, my first time ever having a guest that had to be special. So I bought the statistician, the mathematician, probably the most intelligent person I know. Want to introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, my name's Ben. I go by Lean on Success. That's the name of my YouTube channel. I'm a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt. Now all that means is that I pretend to do math for a living. So,
Nah, he don't
and
pretend.
if y'all want to know what makes me special, I'm married to Fly Free Sister.
Yes,
That's what
brother-in-law.
makes me special.
Yes, sir. So I know some things that he wanted to get into that might coincide with some of the things that I've been talking about over the last few episodes. So he'll be able to verify all the stuff that I've been telling y'all. Um, so yeah, so that's gonna be what this is about. We got some statistics about dating and men, women, that type of thing. Um, So yeah, enjoy, man. This is a very knowledgeable brother right here, man. So y'all tune in.
Yeah, so thanks so much for having me on the show. I'm not going to belabor this too long. Want to share some stuff. Then I've shared all the information that we're talking through today. I've covered on my video, so I will send you links to those, and y'all can click on those if you want more information or see the actual graphics around this. I had some technical difficulties today, which is why I couldn't physically show you the PowerPoint that I put together. But you can check them out on my videos in the link in the description. So,
Absolutely.
Fly Free, you've been talking in your last couple of videos, just giving people tips about relationships. And all the information has really been spot on. I completely agree with everything you said. I've been married, again, to your sister. This month will be 14 years we've been married.
Yeah.
And I can absolutely relate to everything that you said. But there's been a lot of talk in the last few years with the growth of the manosphere and the black manosphere and all that about the dating market. And I think it's important for people to understand if you're currently single, you're in the dating market, why things are the way that they are. Now, on my channel, I did a video called Why Good Men Are Hard to Find. And in that video, I talked about how the deck really is stacked against both women. Well, in that video, I talked about how the deck is stacked against women. And then there's another video I'm going to reference in a minute, talk about how the deck is stacked against men. So when you look at actual demographics, let's say you take 100 single people that are similar ages, marriage minded, looking for long term relationships, and you put them in a ballroom to do speed dating. Well, right off the bat, 52% of the population is female. So 52 of the people in that room are women, 48 are men. So best case scenario, 4 women going home with nobody. That's the best case scenario,
Right, right, right.
right? So just understand right off the bat, not everybody gets somebody because there's always been a shortage of men in the world from the beginning of time, right?
Hmm.
Women have always outnumbered us. Now, so you got, 52 women, they're looking at these 48 men. And let's pick out one woman, let's call her Jane Doe, okay? Jane is, she's just looking for a decent man, right? So what's her first criteria is going to be she wants a tall man, right? Because women want to date somebody taller than them.
Right.
How tall has he got to be? Most women want a man that's 6 feet tall or taller, right?
It's about what, 30% of the population?
Actually, the average height in the United States is 5'9"
Ooh.
with a standard deviation of 3 inches. So basically, what that means is about 84% of all men in the United States are under 6 feet tall.
Ooh.
So immediately, if she's only looking at the men that are 6 feet tall or taller, that brings that 48 down to about 9.
So beggars can't be choosers. Y'all heard it. I'm
Right
not
off
just
the
talking.
bat. Yeah, right off the bat. So now Jane is looking at 9 men, right? She's eliminated the other 39 men that were too short.
That's rough.
So now, hey, Fly Free, what's the next criteria?
Money.
Money, right? He got to be. Let's be conservative and say he's not broke. Okay. Now let's call not broke an annual income of 75,000 a year. Right now, these are like pre-inflation numbers, so
Right.
it's higher now. But let's just use 75,000.
Okay.
As of the start of the pandemic, the median income in the United States was 50,000,
Ooh.
right? So only 32% of all men in the United States earn 75,000 or more, right?
Mm.
So those 9 men that she's looking at, now you're down to 3.
Them
But
pickings is
hey,
getting slim, shorty.
well, now if here's the thing, here's where the delusion sets in. If Jane was in the room by herself, 3 men to choose from is pretty good, right? But it's 51 other women in the room,
Ooh.
right? And so what happens a lot of times is, women say, "Well, I don't really have a whole lot of choices." Well, you don't, but the ones that you do want, there's other women that are pursuing them,
Right.
right? Now, let's let's be even more conservative and say that 2/3 of the women in this room are willing to settle for a man that's either short or broke. Okay, let's just be conservative. So now she's only got uh so it's 2/3, 52. Now there's only 17 women in the room that wants what Jane wants, but it's still only 3 men. So the ratio of women to men in this scenario, this very conservative scenario, is 6-1. And fly free, we haven't filtered for whether they're attractive. We haven't filtered for whether they're in good shape. We
But
haven't filtered for anything yet.
maybe those three want some concubines. We could divide these evenly, and we could do something like that.
Listen, there's a whole lot of situations out there,
Just saying.
and there's been a lot of people on social media that have suggested that women need to kind of learn how to share.
They
And
do. I agree with that.
well, here's the thing: as much as women may balk at that, women do share in ways that they don't expect, right? Like if you are dating a man that has a child from someone else, or you're
Absolutely.
dating someone who's not the father of your child, guess what? You're sharing that
Right.
man with
Right.
somebody else, right?
Right.
So we enter into a lot of these sharing type of contracts whether we realize it or not, right? So that's so part of the delusion associated with the dating market is that, why are good men so hard to find? It's not that good men are hard to find, it's that women stack the deck against themselves
Right.
because they have preferences that are common across other women,
A little overly
right?
selective. Right.
Yeah. So again, 17 women, 3 men. We haven't even talked about, are these men attractive? Are they in good shape? Are they
Right.
good in bed?
Right.
We haven't even filtered for any of that yet. Are they currently married? Do they have children? Like,
Yes.
so how do you filter out? Now, here's where the game flips. So in a separate video, I have a video called "Peas Are People," and I talk about an economist by the name of Vilfredo Pareto. He's known for the Pareto rule. Some of your audience may have heard of the Pareto rule or the 80-20 rule. And
Right.
basically, the way that he formulated it was he was an economist and he was studying wealth distribution in Italy around the turn of the century. And what he learned was that 80% of the land in his region of Italy was owned by the 20% richest people in Italy.
Right.
Right? That's how he came up with the 80-20 rule. Now, he also found he had a garden of black eyed peas. And what he realized is that when he would harvest the peas, 80% of the peas that he got came from 20% of his best producing plants. And so he formulated what's known as a Pareto distribution, which basically is the 80-20 rule. So some examples of that would be things like, 80% of the traffic is on 20% of the streets. Right now, you live in the metro Atlanta area. You know that 95% of the traffic is on 285.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
when you think about the total number of streets, most of the streets are empty most of the time, but most of the traffic is only on a handful of streets.
Right.
Um, 80% of the crime is committed by 20% of the population, right? It's the repeat offenders that are doing all the crime. Now, another interesting fact is related to dating is actually Tinder. So the Tinder app, there was some recent studies that were done on the Tinder app, and it shows that 80% of all of the likes that females were giving male profiles went to the top 20% most attractive male profiles.
So how do they filter attractiveness? How do they
So
determine the attractiveness of someone?
the attractiveness of the male profiles was rated by how many likes they got, right? So
Okay.
what it's basically saying is that it's not an even distribution across all the men on the site.
Right.
Most of the attention is going towards a very small percentage. Basically, 80% of the female attention is going towards the top 20% of the male profiles.
Isn't that
Now,
more of a popularity thing as opposed to attractiveness?
well, so with Tinder, the there's bio information on there, but the primary thing people looking at is the profile pic, right? So if it's a nice pic,
Yeah.
they're putting a like on the nicest pictures,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Now, again, it may not necessarily be the man himself. It could be he's standing next to a Lamborghini or he's on
Right.
a
So I'm
yacht or
like, who are
whatever.
these people to determine who is attractive and like what are we basing this off of?
So yeah, so attractiveness is based upon how many likes that particular profile is getting, how many
Okay,
swipes it gets, right?
makes sense.
So that's how we're rating it, right? But what it's saying is that only about 20% of the male profiles are getting all of the attention from women. So if you're a woman on Tinder, it might feel like there's a lot of fish in the sea because you're getting a lot of hits and attention from men, and you feel like you can be selective about which of those men you want to pick from.
Right.
But in reality, when you actually start to interact, there's kind of this dissonance that a woman can feel because she's getting all this attention in social media, but in real life, when you actually start to engage physically with people, it doesn't feel like you have a million different options, right? Now, the reason why is that social media companies have engineered the apps in such a way that they want to flood these apps with men, right? So, yes, 80% of the likes are going to the top 20% of profiles, but part of that is 80% of Tinder users are men, and the men have to pay for the app, right? And this Tinder is not special to this. When you look at almost all of the apps, social dating apps that are out there, in many cases, the women can use the app for free. The men have to pay for it.
So Tinder,
So
men have to pay and women are free.
I can't confirm that women are free on Tinder, but I can tell you that I met your sister on Christian Mingle years ago, and it was definitely free for her, and I definitely had to pay.
So they got apps. So apps are the club now. Like it's the new
Oh
club.
yeah,
Making it
yeah,
with the clubs, same thing.
yeah. It's the same thing, right? The women get in free, the men have to pay, and they
That's
want to
great.
flood the club with women because they know if there's more women there, there's more men there. However, that goes the opposite way based on status. I read a report years ago around the time that Michael Jordan was getting ready to retire, and he was, in Washington, and there was a rumor on a radio station went out that said that Michael Jordan was going to appear at a certain club, and within 1 hour, I think they said like 1,000 women showed up at the club.
Within the hour. So
Within
they
one
found
hour,
out within the hour, and they were there in an hour.
they
They
were
got
there in
ready.
an
They got
hour.
dressed.
Yes. Within an hour, there were 1,000 women showed up at the club off of a rumor. He never showed up, but someone heard that he was showing up. 1,000 women just appeared out of nowhere.
Well, I'm getting the men had they picking that night.
Well, I mean, if you look like Michael Jordan, maybe.
Hey, I got to get what y'all could get. Mike ain't coming. Mike is not on the way.
Yeah. So essentially, what I wanted to convey across, again, I'll send you a link to the video so you can put it in the description. The point is, the rich get richer. That's really the point that I wanted to make, is that men who are highly desirable, in this space, we may call it a high value man, whatever you want to call it. Men who are highly desirable know that they're highly desirable
Yeah,
because
we do.
they're getting confirmation bias everywhere they go. Right? If you're 6 feet, so Fly Free, you 6 feet tall, you making over 75,000 a year, you're getting attention. Right?
No, I don't get no attention. I don't get any attention.
But it's,
Yeah.
it's, and even me, being married, I'm happily married, but, there have been like instances where, I was out so last Halloween, I was out with Tashina and friends. We were at a restaurant doing a murder mystery, and there was a woman at she was attractive, a single attractive woman that was openly flirting with me with Tashina like 5 feet away. Like, not even kidding. Like, bro, it's it's wild out here, right?
That's where you got to introduce it. Like, so this is my wife. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I literally had to tell that woman, please leave me alone, because I was like, look, if you keep flirting with me, it's gonna be a real murder in here. It ain't gonna be no mystery.
right. Facts. And I'm gonna be the one to solve it.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, I'm gonna be the one murdered. I'm gonna
Oh,
be
I thought you
dead.
talking about her. He murder her. I ain't flirt with her. Kill her.
Well, listen, I didn't want to take the chance, right? But men of status, women can tell when a man is about something, and they know either consciously or subconsciously that men of status and value are rare,
Right.
right? And the taller you are, and the more attractive you are, and the more money you earn, the more rare you are, and the more desirable you are. And men know that. And so when these attractive women are saying that why they get dogged out all the time, well, some of it could be because you're swimming in a pool with 50 other women, and the men know that they have their choice, they have their pickings, right?
Right.
And so that is a variable that plays into that. So it's now we can save this for another show, but I have my own theories about how I think women and men can be successful, and it really has a lot to do with being realistic about what your situation is and finding someone that's compatible to what your situation is, right? So, for example, if you're a woman and you're 37 years old and you have three children by three different fathers,
Oh no.
well, you know, you're gonna have to find you a short, ugly, broke man.
Garbage. Yeah,
That's all you get. You're
yeah.
not gonna get Michael Jordan,
Or
right?
just a complete simp. Or like I don't even know what you
Yeah.
call them type of dudes, but I'm not signing up for nothing like that. Ain't no way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of simps out there, but how many simps are able to financially support three children,
True.
right? So, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of simps, but they broke. They can't help. They
Broke.
can't improve your financial situation.
Ooh.
So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So yeah, but like I said, we can say that for another show because I haven't formulated my theory fully yet, but I got like a cool name and everything for it. But we'll say that for another show.
All right. Yeah, that I mean, all this is useful information, ladies. Now, if you heard all of that right there, and it shows you that you, first of all, beggars can't be choosers, right?
Yep.
Especially like you said, if you got multiple children by multiple father, it don't even have to be multiple. A lot of times, guys just don't want to deal with kids.
hmm
Period. You know what I
Yep.
mean? If it's over a certain number, so uh, be more considerate and be more open. I think that's
hmm
basically what I want to say. Just be more open with not telling you to just completely lower your standards completely, but yeah, I think it's gonna take a little bit more of an open mind to find what you're looking for. That's
Yeah.
basically all I want to say about that.
Yeah. I totally agree. And for men, it's important for you to understand that for men it's a little bit different because we have our runway is longer, right? Like women, they're kind of born with sexual value, right? We have
Right?
to kind of earn it.
Yeah,
So women start the game earlier, but they age out sooner, right?
faster.
We
Yes.
It takes us longer. Like, you
Right.
and I, we were in our 30s before we really became men of
Mm,
status and value. It took a
right.
while for us to build ourselves up.
Yes, it
But
did.
the runway for us is longer, right? Like we can run this thing until our 50s and 60s. We can
Right.
still, we can still pull them bitches. Don't tell Machine I said that. But we can still pull them, right? In our 50s and 60s. We know this, right? But that's what I run race. So the good news is, as a man, you might be 26, 27, and you one of those short broke guys I was talking about. But the good news is that you got runway to where you can build yourself up. Now you
Right.
can't really do nothing about being short unless you
No,
get that
no,
surgery.
no. Yeah, they got the little plates you
the
can put
the
in your
knee
knees and all
the
that
knee
shit. Yeah,
BL.
yeah, they got the knee BLs. Yeah, like niggas is
So
going from
hey,
5'5" to 6'2". Like it's a real thing there.
so listen, if you want to not be able to walk for years, that hey, you do what you do. But hey, but see, you can be a short king, so you still be short, work out, get yourself fit, get your bread up. You can
Gotta
still
get
become a
your bread
man of
up.
value. So
Yep, absolutely. Yep. Um, yeah, them. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. I know that's a little off topic. Them knee BLs. When I first saw that, like I saw a whole ad where guys was literally, and now they don't
yeah,
have studies on it or whatever. I guess because it's so new, but I'm
mm.
guaranteeing by about 10 years, these
Oh yeah,
niggas legs are gonna be toast. Like It
Oh
has to
yeah, I
be
mean,
something that goes wrong with that. There's no way.
yeah, I imagine so that yeah, there's definitely going to be long-term effects of having, you know, essentially like plates and screws in your bones and stuff like that, right? Like it's not going to be a good look, but the concept for that, the first time I saw the concept for that was in a sci-fi film in the 90s called Gattaca, where long story, but it
See, he
was
got that info.
futuristic.
Y'all listen, Dick.
Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off. He got
Well,
that.
so no, you're good. So basically the premise of the movie was um someone was it was a future, it was set in the future where when a baby was born you could do a DNA test and it would tell you whether that child would develop any type of congenital problems later on. So when he was and so therefore they would slot you in different career paths based upon what your DNA showed. So the main character when he was born, it showed that he was going to have some type of congenital heart problem when he was in his 30s, and so
Hmm.
therefore it slotted him into like lower level jobs because if you're not expected to live past 30 years old, there's no reason for us to invest in you to go to college and all this. But he wanted to be an astronaut, so he literally stole someone else's identity and then got a bunch of surgeries to make himself look like that person. Like he would, he had like parts of their blood where they would have to like, or he like stole their fingerprints so that when they scanned the fingerprints, it would show that he was this other person. But then that person was a certain height, so he had to get surgery on his legs. So like, so the concept of like being able to transform yourself was introduced. That was the first time that I saw it, and from a conceptual standpoint. And then my mom even told me that now this is in the 70s that my dad used to wear lifters in his shoes to make himself seem taller when they would go out. Because my dad was me, 5'7", same height as me, but he would put lifters in his shoes, and he even have like the sneakers now that give you like 2 to 3 inches of lift, and
I need
like
them.
they even show like, oh man, you like they was actually showing the same guy would put on a pair of shoes like 5 minutes later he was getting way more attention because he went from like 5'9" to like 6 feet tall.
Yeah, I
And
need
so
them.
now, oh, you look better, you look nice. What you do? I'm just 3 inches taller.
I need them. They promised me 6'4" when I was like 11 years old, and I ain't make it. I got the 6'2". I need them. I need them platforms. I need that.
Oh no, you good. 6'2", that's tall enough, man. You good. You good. You got plenty. And give me a. Can I get a couple? Can I at
Man,
least get to 5'10"? I just want to get to 5'10".
I give I go down to 6 feet so you could go up to five
I
nine.
go to 5'9". That's fine. I'll take it. Whatever I can get.
Yeah,
I'm
so
almost as wide as I am tall now though, which is my fault. I wasn't
I'm
born
getting there
that way.
too. I gotta hit the
Yeah.
gym. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I got a treadmill like 3 feet in front of me. I need to be on right now.
well, if I had one, I'd be on it probably every day for real.
Yeah, I tell you, yeah, I got to get on
But
it.
yeah, man. The I think the moral of the story is the life is harder for ugly people. I think we can surmise
That
that
now
from this
I got a
conversation.
video on that too. That's a whole other story, but yes.
But that's where it was trending. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, man. What else we got? Man, I saw yesterday or the day before, and this is completely off topic, but
Okay.
Errol Spence exercised his rematch clause for Terrence Crawford. Like,
Hmm.
why? Besides the money, 'cause I know you're gonna say it's a payday, but that's come on, man. We don't want to see that again, man.
Yeah. So now you are much more of a boxing person than I am. You know more about this stuff than I do. But um, it's if I'm Errol, um, I want the opportunity to redeem myself. Right. Like I want to. I got completely embarrassed from beginning to end in this boxing match. It wasn't just the knockout at the end, right?
Right.
I was completely embarrassed from beginning to end in this match. And I want the opportunity to redeem myself, right? So for me, that's a big motivating factor of I want to prove that it wasn't a fluke, right? So for me, I think that's his motivation. But I
I
don't I don't think the result's going to be any different.
like to me, it's just digging a bigger hole. Why would you like at least take a fight in between and get some kind of confidence back, get yourself back together before you jump back in that water? Because that was horrible, man. Like I didn't even expect it to go like that, and I bet on Crawford. I actually bet
Yeah.
on Crawford and won money on it, but
Hmm.
like I didn't expect him to be as dominant as he was. That was just like that was a annihilation. Like
Yeah.
I
And
don't know.
yeah, it's and well, these guys have camps and handlers and people that are kind of managing the business aspect of it, that are advising him certain ways.
Right.
To your point, I think it does make a lot of sense to have an in between fight to kind of get your confidence back. I wonder though, is he concerned that if he does that, that Crawford will either lose interest or take another fight and lose, which would then make the eventual payday not as big, right? There's always a risk of that happening.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's always a possibility, but I mean,
But Buzz got all the belts now, so he's isn't he basically cleaned out the whole division?
yeah, but they're planning on fighting at 154, so I think
Okay,
that
so they're going up in size. Okay.
yeah, so they're going up to the next weight class, but there's no amount of weight that's going to change the outcome of that fight. That wasn't a matter of weight; it
Yeah.
was more of a skill level and just us. They have styles make
Mhm.
fights. Arrow style
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not made to beat a guy like Terrence Crawford, and that was evident in the first fight. So I'm like, why do we have to see that again? Like we could see something a little bit more interesting. Like I don't know. That's just
Mhm.
me. I just had that
Yeah.
on my chest. Like that was
No, it's fine. So I know that I think it was either their fight or another one I was watching. So there's obviously you have to make a certain weight when you weigh in, but then there was like wasn't there like a hydration limit? Like they could only
yeah.
go up by a certain number of pounds?
Yeah, that was the Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia fight.
Oh, that was a different fight. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Tank made him sign a rehydration clause.
okay. So I didn't know. I had never heard that before. So I didn't know if that had become normalized in the sport or not.
I mean, it's not normalized, but it happens at times.
Yeah.
I just find it ironic. He wanted Ryan Garcia to sign a rehydration clause, but he wants to somehow fight Bud Crawford at 147. That makes no sense. You
No,
didn't
that's
even want
that's
Ryan
talk.
Garcia to have weight on him. Like, so why are you going to try? This makes no sense.
No, that's just talk. So I mean, if I'm Bud, I probably want to do something like that, right? Like I probably want some type of clause where it's like, okay, look, we fight at 154. You ain't coming in here in no 170 or 175, and I'm
Right,
I'm at 160, right?
right,
We ain't doing that. I probably want something like that just to make sure that he's not that the weight discrepancy isn't that big. But to your
right,
point, his style, weight doesn't matter. Fighting a bigger man
right.
doesn't really matter that much with his style,
Right,
right?
because Arrow's very one dimensional. All he does is, he goes forward, wears you down. He goes to the
Mm-hmm.
body. Just like but it's very effective against other guys who aren't as skilled as Bud.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
You
not going to work against a guy like him.
it's reminiscent of um, Sugar Ray Leonard, the Sugar Ray Leonard Marvin Hagler fight, right? Is reminiscent of that for this reason. First of all, we've talked about this on Facebook.
Uh huh.
I actually watched. ESPN used to do a series called Five Reasons Why. They will
Hmm.
always cover some controversial topic, and they would take the opposite view. So the show was Five Reasons Why Hagler wasn't to blame for the loss. And what they talked about was that basically they gave Sugar everything he wanted. He got a bigger ring so
Hmm.
that he could run. They got bigger gloves, right, to soften the blows.
Right, because Marvin
Um,
Hagler was a monster.
yeah, exactly. But Leonard was able to manipulate all of the aspects of the fight to work to his advantage because he wanted to, work him from the outside. He wanted to run and,
Right.
stick and move and, take it. I think they fought a longer number of rounds than normal, right?
Hmm.
So he basically manipulated every aspect of the fight to his advantage and still barely won,
Right.
right?
I don't even think he won.
Well, on the cards, and the final decision was
Yeah,
that no, was that a draw? No, he won that fight because that was the second fight, I think.
he did.
But it was a split decision. It was a very close decision, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, but was Hagler the better boxer that night? Yes. Did the manipulation of the aspects of the fight help Leonard get the split decision? Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
but
You
yeah,
know.
it's again, I don't follow boxing as closely as you, but when you get paid that much to get hit in the face, I like the normal rules don't apply to people like you and me, right? Like it's
Right,
different.
right. Yeah, I don't know, I just thought about that. Like, I know we'll probably have more sports talk at some point, but that was just something I was thinking about. I just looked at it before
Yeah.
we came on.
Oh yeah, no, I really actually I want to talk to you. I want to at some point I want to do a video on the WNBA and the pay gap.
Uh-huh.
I've been working on that for a while in terms of getting the numbers together. So when I'm ready, I definitely want to come back on the show and talk about that.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, we could do that, man. Episode 6, Fly Free Speaks, man. Anything you wanna last words or anything else you want to say?
Again, I just want to thank you for inviting me to come on the show. Really appreciate it. Again, my channel is Lean on Success. You can find it, my name there. Again, I'll send you the links to my channel. You can put those in the description for this video. You can check me out there. I talk about data, and right now I'm kind of focusing on economics and the current markets in the United States. I talk about the housing market, inflation, wages, stuff like that. Focusing on that. And so, yeah, y'all can catch me over there. And again, I'm looking forward to being able to chop it up with some of these sports topics in the future.
Absolutely, man. That's my lane right there. So, we'll get into it for sure. It was good having you, man.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
sure we'll speak sometime today or whatever.
Oh
College
yeah.
football starting today.
Oh
About to
yeah.
go
Yep.
watch Dion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's coming on a little bit now, right?
Yeah, come on at
Yeah.
12. I don't know what time it
12.
is, but yeah.
Yeah. Almost 11. So yeah. Yep.
All right, man. Appreciate you
Cool,
coming
man.
back, y'all. Fly Free Speaks, episode 6. We out, man. Holla at me.